Oh, no, no.
Buenos días. This meeting of the Common Council will come to order. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Pratt.
Present.
Taylor. Here. Brower.
Here.
Bowman. Here. Westmoreland. Here. Cobb. Jackson. Here. Samarita.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Ward.
Present.
Burgess.
Happy Pride Month. Present.
Spiker. Here. Dimitrievich. Alderman Dimitrievich.
Here.
Stanley. Here. Mr. President.
Present.
15 members are present.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance to be followed by a moment of silent meditation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any corrections to the Common Council Journal proceedings for the meetings of May 12, 2026?
There are no corrections to the journal.
There being no corrections, the minutes of this meeting stand and approved. Alderperson Jocasta Samaniva moves that the Common Council resolve itself into the committee of the whole for the purpose of making a number of presentations. Hearing no objection, so ordered. Welcome to Pride Month. In just a moment, we will be recognizing 5 special people and organizations selected by Alderperson Jocasta Samaniva and Peter Benitez. They are being honored for their commitment and contributions to the LGBT+ community. Alderperson Samaniva, Alderman Benitez, the floor is yours.
Happy Pride Month, everybody. My name is Alderman Peter Burgess. I'm joined by Alderperson Jocasta Samaniva, the first Pride was a riot. And 8 years before Stonewall, here in Milwaukee, not too far away from the Black Knight Tavern, trans women of color stood up and said they've had enough. They fought back. You can't forget that. You have to stand up and fight every single day for our rights. Pride Month is a time when we remember our neighbors. The LGBTQ+ community is next door, down the street, your doctor, your police officer. The community, the LGBTQ+ community is a part of our community. And today we celebrate a couple of individuals and organizations that live that mission each and every day.
Well said, Alderman Burgess. Thank you. All right, I'm Alderperson Jocasta Samaniva, one member of our career caucus here at the city. And I'm very, very happy to be here with you all. Thank you to the Milwaukee Common Council for always honoring and celebrating Pride Month here in Milwaukee and beyond. And so as Peter said so eloquently, we want to honor some organizations and folks who are living their authentic selves, honoring and helping others to live authentically, and being leaders in our queer community. And so, of course, it's only right that I start by honoring the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center today. And behind us, actually, you have all of your honorees, from staff to executive directors to board members to individuals. We wanted them to stand up here on the dais today so you can see how powerful and awesome our LGBT community is here in Milwaukee. But with that, I want to call up Richie Martin, the executive director of the LGBT Community Center, and just give a few remarks as I hand him this plaque so that we can honor them. You know, the Milwaukee LGBT Community Center has come under tremendous fire, as you can imagine, from the Trump administration. Their very name has LGBT in its organizational name, and you can imagine the funding under Donald Trump that has come under at great risk, if not completely lost. And so, with Richie Martin's leadership and the leadership of his team and board members, they have worked very hard to ensure that the center continues here in Milwaukee. And you know, they started in Walker's Point in Alderman Benitez's district many years ago when I was just a kid. And they made their way to Alderman Cogg's district on 4th Street. That was when I walked through the doors of the center for the very first time. Ultimately, they ended up, I think, at Bauman's district off of Water Street for a time before they came back to Court Street. But now they have come back home to Walker's Point on Milwaukee's near South Side, and Alderman Bergelis and I and President Bettis were so happy to be at the ribbon cutting very recently. Richie Martin, under his leadership and with his team, again, have continued to ensure that the LGBT Community Center continues on here in Milwaukee. It is part of our legacy. They were one of the first in the country, and I want to ask Richie to please keep his great work going so we can continue to have a Milwaukee LGBT Community Center serving for generations to come. Richie Martin and your team, I want to wish you a very happy Pride, and I want to thank you so much for your grand leadership.
This year, Pride Fest is joining the Summerfest grounds once again as they had. This will be the 30th anniversary of Pride Fest. Congratulations to Pride Fest. With us, we have Wes Shaver, as President and CEO. Wes, congratulations on continuing this tradition on Milwaukee's beautiful lakefront. Thank you, Wes.
Does begin on Thursday. I already bought my ticket with the VIP experience add-on. And I challenge my colleagues to join me, and Richard's going the same, and joining me Thursday night. But with that, I want to move on to our next honoree, as Alderman Bergelis noted. We're honoring some individuals this morning as well. And so with that, I want to bring up Lieutenant Guadalupe Velasquez of our Milwaukee Police Department. Lieutenant, some of you, I know my colleagues know, just got a promotion. She, for quite a long time, was Sergeant Velasquez, but she is now Lieutenant Guadalupe Velasquez. Lieutenant Velasquez is also one of our LGBTQ plus liaisons with the Milwaukee Police Department. In fact, one of the first, if not the first. Yes, so we want to thank her for her leadership as an out LGBTQ plus Milwaukee police officer. She's joined here today by another out law enforcement leader, with Lieutenant Hall here in the room with us. I said this in committee because she used to come to the license committee now, she's going to move on to greener pastures, but she was always with us in the license committee representing MKE. And I said this already, but I want to say it again. I've been watching Lieutenant Velasquez as a leader on our New South Side. District 2 was in my district. So since she was a rank and file rookie cop, I like to say, I think who she was. And I don't know that she ever knew that I saw her, and I was watching her, and I was admiring her. as a Latina in the force, as an openly queer individual in the police department, and the work that she does now to lift up not just herself and her beautiful family, her wife, her children, but her community. It is very dear to her. I see her at every single event. She's at the events that I'm not even at, and I just want to thank you so much for showing up every single time. And this promotion is well deserved, and how lucky we are that you call Milwaukee home with the buses. Happy Friday.
And next, another individual that we want to recognize is Aaron Rice. Aaron Rice is not a Milwaukee native. He moved here. If we want to grow our community to 1 million residents, we need to embrace and acknowledge that we have to grow. When Aaron came to Milwaukee, he immediately identified nonprofits that he wanted to serve and help out. He's been on board for the LGBT Community Service and the LGBT Community Center and United Way engagement. I'm not reading this very quickly. I did see from Milwaukee, and there's another one that I can't remember. But when people come to our community and become a part of the fabric of our community, we have to embrace, welcome, and celebrate them. So in his job, and his day job as Chief Development Officer of Feeding America in Wisconsin, he helps advance the organization's mission to serve all individuals experiencing food insecurity, which is something this council cares deeply about. That also includes members of the LGBTQ+ community, where nearly 1 in 5 experience poverty. Thank you, Aaron, for moving to Milwaukee, making that choice. Thank you, Milwaukee, for embracing him. And Aaron, thank you for embracing our community as your new home. Thank you. Our last honoree today is Courage Plus. Courage Plus has made an immeasurable contribution to Milwaukee because they care about kids that otherwise would not have a home. And these kids, frankly, come from all over the state. So for the last 11 years, Courage Plus has helped foster and embrace young people who have no home. What more of a Milwaukee idea could we bring? And recently, they purchased another home in my district on the southwest side of the city. And to be transparent, a lot of the neighbors were concerned. But once neighbors understood what the organization is, what it isn't, and the benefit they bring to the community, most of those neighbors were overjoyed to support becoming the southwest side of the 11th Alderman. So today, Courage Plus offers a wide array of uplifting programming, including housing support, advocacy, providing scholarships and grants, and offering education, training, and support to nonprofits, organizations, businesses, allies, and anyone wanting to learn. They've been here since 2015. They work to provide safe and inclusive housing, trauma-informed care, catered to the LGBT community, education, and reliable data-supported thought leadership. The goal of giving LGBTQ+ youth a sense of community centered around care, safety, and acceptance, while bringing about real systemic change. Common Council of the City of Milwaukee here recognizes Courage Plus as the 2026 5-month honoree, and thanks to them for their continued work in the community. Thank you, Brad. Pride doesn't end on June 30th. We have to acknowledge and celebrate all of our contributions all year long. And if you're not a member of the LGBTQ+ community, you can be an ally, just support it. But you can also being autonomous. Happy Pride Month, everyone. But please squeeze into the dice.
I do, but I guess I got it's all
Members, take your seats, please. Members, take your seats.
We have one.
Alderman Gillis now moves that the common council rise. Hearing no objection, so ordered. The city clerk, please inform the common council of any communication or condolences to be acknowledged at this time.
Item 1, communication from the city clerk relating to various mandatory and military resolutions to be acknowledged and confirmed by the common council. 1, resolution recognizing the following as 2026 Pride Month honor beings Courage Plus, the LGBT Community Center, Pride Fest, Aaron Rice, Lieutenant Guadalupe Velasquez. 2, resolution recognizing Bernardo Renueva event. 3, resolution recognizing the ribbon-cutting ceremony for Pink Umbrella Theater Company. 4, resolution recognizing the grand opening of Milwaukee LGBT Community Center location at 161 South First Street. 5, resolution recognizing the work of Maestro Luis Lopez on the occasion of the celebration of life in his honor at South First High School. 6, resolution recognizing Dwight Cobb for his decades of service to the Milwaukee community. 7, resolution recognizing John McCoy for his years of dedicated service to the St. Sebastian School Foundation. 8, resolution recognizing Dominic the Food Reviewer and his positive contributions to the community. 9, resolution congratulating Becky Keelan on her retirement and 37 years of success operating Becky's Custom Sewing and Design. 10, resolution expressing condolences to the family and friends of Alderman John R. Collins. 11, resolution expressing condolences to the family and friends of Dennis Lamar Johnson. 12, resolution expressing condolences to the family and friends of Kathleen Hart. 13, resolution expressing condolences to the family and friends of Tyrone Daniels. 14, resolution congratulating Jill Price on her retirement from the Department of Administration Information Technology Management Division. And in addition to the roster, resolution expressing condolences to the family and friends of David Francis Martin.
Are there any objections to the full-form commendations or condolences? If anyone wishes to be added as a sponsor to any of the commendations or condolences, please fill out the form on your desk and submit it to the city clerk before the roll of the workday. We will now take up reports of standing committees. Alderperson Joe Costa Samanico will now present the report of the license committee.
The License Committee recommends passage of 2, a substitute ordinance relating to Department of Neighborhood Services investigation of license applications. The License Committee recommends placing on file 4, an ordinance relating to municipal identification card. 5, motion relating to the revocation of Class B tavern, food dealer, and public entertainment premise licenses of Reginald Butler, agent for 2579 Teutonia LLC, for the premise located at 2579 North Teutonia Avenue, doing business as Vibe Lounge in the 15th Alderman District. The License Committee also recommends approval of 3, Common Council File Number 260107, motion relating to the recommendations of the License Committee relating to licenses. Included in the file are the following recommendations: renewal of the 10-day suspension of the food dealer and food peddler licenses of M. Guadalupe Villarreal, based upon the preponderance of the evidence in the automatic testimony, applicant and city department testimony, that demonstrates the operation results in the threat to health, safety, or welfare of the public for the illegal parking, pending citations, and failure to comply with the approved plan of operation for the premise located at 2131 South Mosquito Avenue, doing business as El Paraiso in the 8th Alderman District. The License Committee also recommends non-renewal of the Class B operator's license to Christopher Deshawn McBeath based upon the second non-concurrence. No written objections have been filed to either item.
Have the members of the Common Council read the report and recommendations of the License Committee? Roll call, please.
Alderman Rapp. Chambers. Rowley. Pounded. Westmoreland. Jackson. Tommy. Taylor. Moore. Regalis. Spiker. Demetrievich. Stanford. Mr. President. 15 ayes.
There are no motions on respect to these matters. Hearing none. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. I would ask the vote of the Common Council members to adopt the recommendations of the Licenses Committee as contained in file number 260107. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Pratt. Chambers. Broward. Pounded. Westmoreland. Cox. Jackson. Tommy. Taylor. Moore. Regalis. Spiker. Demetrievich. Stanford. Mr. President. 15 ayes.
Is there any further discussion of the complete report of the rest of the report? Hearing none. Alderman Samanipa, Alderperson Samanipa, moves for approval of the remainder of the report of the licensing committee. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Brown. Chambers. Brower. Bowman. Westmoreland. Collins. Jackson. Samanipa. Taylor. Moore. Burgess. Spiker. Dimitrievich. Stanford. Mr. President. 59.
59. The report is adopted. Alderwoman Melinda A. Cobbs will now present the report of the Public Works Committee.
The Public Works Committee recommends approval of 6 motion relating to recommendations of the Public Works Committee related to licensing. Public Works Committee recommends passage of 7 in ordinance related to state requirements for recycling and other purposes. The Public Works Committee recommends adoption of 8 substitute resolution assigning the honorary street name John J. Williams to North 14th Street from West Capitol Drive to West Olive Street in the 1st Alternative District. 9, a substitute resolution relating to the exploration and development of external partnerships for street maintenance. 10, substitute resolution relating to the collection of leaves raised by residents to the curb. 11, substitute resolution approving levying assessments and the construction of accessible public improvements projects at various locations and appropriating funds for these purposes. With the city cost of these projects approved by these resolutions estimated to be $873,880 for a total estimated cost of $1,196,800. 12, resolution relating to acceptance and execution of funding of a green solutions grant from Milwaukee Metropolitan Storage District for the installation of permanent pavers in the westerly parking lane of South 18th Street between West Lincoln Avenue and West Beecher Street as part of the city's reconstruction project in the 12th Alternative District. 13, resolution authorizing city entry into green schoolyard redevelopment program funding agreement and conservation easements with MMSD and MPS for MPS properties in various locations in the city of Milwaukee. 14, resolution authorizing city entry into development and credit purchase agreement with Milwaukee Board of School Directors, City of Milwaukee, and CIS MMSD LLC for the purchase of green infrastructure gallon credits at Lincoln and Wondrowski Playfields in the 12th Alternative District. 15, resolution authorizing city entry into green solutions funding agreements and conservation easements with Milwaukee Metropolitan Storage District and Milwaukee Public Schools for Milwaukee Public Schools properties in the 3rd, 5th, 6th, 14th, and 15th Alternative Districts. 16, resolution determining it necessary to make various accessible public improvements in various locations and appropriating funds for these purposes. With the city engineering cost estimated to be $425,000 for a total estimated cost of the project being $2,550,000. 17, resolution determining it necessary to make various non-accessible public improvements in various locations and appropriating funds for these purposes. With the city engineering cost estimated to be $240,000 for a total estimated cost of these projects being $3,500,000. 18, resolution approving construction of non-accessible public improvements in various locations and appropriating funds for these purposes. With the city construction cost estimated to be $1,758,000 for a total estimated cost of these projects being $1,820,000. 19, resolution authorizing the transfer of funds from the state improvement, state and/or federal aid program to the street reconstruction or resurface program, regular city program at various locations for funding of local street improvements under the local roads improvement program for municipal streets improvement greater than $20,000 with a city cost of $4,850,185.20 with a transfer cost of $1,005,864.80 for a total estimated cost of $5,858,850. 20, resolution authorizing the transfer of funds from the street improvement, state and/or federal aid program to the street reconstruction or resurface program, regular city program for West Keith Avenue between North 8th Street and North 18th Street in the 6th Alternative District to fund the municipal street improvement supplemental local roads improvement program with a city cost of $1,100,000 and a grantor cost of $900,000 for a total estimated cost of $2 million. 21, resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Works to execute a reimbursement agreement between the City of Milwaukee and the Milwaukee Metropolitan Storage District for the removal of obstruction and relaying of storm sewer pipes along the Navi River located in the City of Milwaukee. 22, 22, resolution granting approval of 3 driveway approaches with a width greater than 30 feet for the premises at 2005 West Oklahoma Avenue in the 13th Alderman District.
Mr. President,
Chair recognizes Alderman Spiker.
I'd like to move to return Common Council file number 260132, that's item 7, to committee. The city attorney's office has asked to have a little more time to work on tweaking some of the language to reflect state requirements.
Motion by Alderman Spiker to return to committee. Are there any objections? Hearing none, so ordered.
Public Works Committee recommends confirmation of 23. Reappointment of Alderman Mark Chambers Jr. to the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District by the Mayor. 4. Reappointment of Alderwoman Malele A. Cox to the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District by the Mayor. 25. Reappointment of Representative Kalen Hayward II to the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District by the Mayor. 26. Reappointment of Julia Taylor to the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District by the Mayor. 27. Reappointment of Corey Zatz to the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District by the Mayor. Public Works Committee recommends placing on file 28 substitute resolution related to acceptance and funding of the Wisconsin Coastal Management Program grant from the Wisconsin Department of Administration. 29. Communication from the Department of Public Works related to its performance in securing funding for infrastructure projects in the previous biennial budget and prospects for such funding in the future. 30. Communication from the Department of Public Works related to 2025 residential recycling annual report. 31. Communication related to the permit process for parklets, sidewalk area dining facilities, and the Active Streets for Business program.
Chair recognizes Alderman Cox.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask an abstention on item 24.
As the record reflects, abstention of item 24. Chair recognizes Alderman Chambers.
Same for item 23.
Let the record reflect an abstention by Alderman Mark Chambers for item 23. Any further discussion? Chair recognizes Alderman Broward.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. Just want to comment on confirmation, I think it's 7. I really am looking to the MSD board to do every single thing it can to investigate some of the allegations that come forward regarding and I really have faith that my colleagues here will work to serve people's interests by investigating those and conducting an audit. Some of those people, some of the individuals were present in Public Works, and I received some assurance from them. So I don't want these two things not working because we as the city of Milwaukee appoint the majority of that board, and we should have our people seated as soon as possible so we can begin the work. And that's why I didn't reject the committee, but I do have concerns about what I've heard in the news media. And I just urge the colleagues here and everyone else that were appointed to begin an investigation and even an audit. There's a call for an audit by a specific agency. I'm not hung up on what agency conducts the audit, but I am hung up that we do everything we can to investigate allegations of that provider. As we're looking at, we're having a contract open right now, proposals for the provider, or potentially that same one for the management of the system. I just want to make sure fully prepare someone to go to these. No, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Alderwoman Cox moves for approval of the remainder of the report of the Public Works. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Craig. Chambers. Aye. Broward. Aye. Cummings. Westmoreland. Aye. Cox. Jackson. Sullivan. Taylor. Ford. Burgess. Spiker. Dimitrievich. Stanton. Mr. President.
Aye.
Unanimous.
The next committee report is adopted. Alderwoman Malina, the treasurer, will now present the report of the finance personnel committee.
The Finance and Personnel Committee recommends passage of 32, a substitute ordinance to further amend the 2026 rates of pay of officers and positions in the city service. 33, a substitute ordinance to further amend the 2026 offices and positions in the city service. The Finance and Personnel Committee recommends adoption of 34, substitute resolution relating to acceptance and funding of the 2025 through 2029 that has a reduction and healthy homes grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. 35, substitute resolution relating to the enhancement and expansion of the Department of Employee Relations EAP mental health and wellness benefits program.
Mr. President. Chair recognizes Alderman Gillis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item number 35, expand access to mental health services for city employees. We heard a very important presentation, had an important discussion in committee. I urge colleagues to pay attention to this file very, very carefully. We are essentially doubling the availability of mental health services for city employees. I would be honored to add my name as co-sponsor for file 252-188, item number 35.
Let the record reflect co-sponsorship of item 35, file 252-188, Alderman Gillis. Chair recognizes Alderperson Saliba.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too would like to be added as a co-sponsor to file number 252-188.
Let the record reflect co-sponsorship of Alderman Saliba to item 35, file 252-188. Chair recognizes Alderperson Taylor.
Mr. President, let me add co-sponsor on that file.
Record reflect Alderman Taylor as co-sponsor of item 188. Thank you. Is that for the file?
It's not. The Finance and Personnel Committee recommends placing on file 36, resolution relating to the lobbying of outside entities by agencies under contract with the city of Milwaukee. 37, resolution amending town council file number 200996, authorizing city departments to expend monies appropriated in the 2021 budget for special purpose accounts, debt service funds, provision for employees retirement fund, delinquent tax fund, common council contingent fund, grant aid fund, and special capital projects for purposes. 38, a ordinance relating to fees charged by city agencies for online interactions. 39, communication from the Department of Employee Relations and Freedom of Workforce Health regarding the city's comprehensive health and wellness program for the 2025 program year. 40, communication from the Department of Employee Relations amending the salary position ordinances related to clerical or administrative corrections. 41, communication from the Department of Employee Relations related to classification setting schedule for city service commission action. 42, communication from the Department of Administration and Management Division amending position ordinance related to position authority for positions in the Department of Public Works Operations Division.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Chair recognizes Alderman Spiker.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say, I'd like to add this co-sponsor in item 35 as well.
The record reflect co-sponsorship of item 35 by Alderman Spiker. Chair recognizes Alderman Chambers. For 35? Correct. Motion by Alderman Chambers is unanimous consent for item 35. File 252-188. Correct. Hearing no objection, so ordered. Any further discussion? Chair recognizes Alderman Robert.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. President. For item 39, I really appreciate the work that Freedom Workforce Health is doing with our comprehensive wellness program for our employees. I think it's worth just noting just what a state this world is in right now, that we as the employer need to even be concerned with our employees' health. Really, frankly, when we think about it objectively, it's really none of our business what employees, what kind of healthy attitudes employees have, or healthy habits they engage in, and that's really up to them as their own independent person. So we do this though because I was here to do this because we are burdened with the cost of providing health care. And I just want to say, just out loud right now, it is worth in the future and working towards a United States where we have a Medicare for all system where we as an employer, right, largest employer in the city, where we as an employer don't have to shoulder solely the burden of providing health insurance for our employees. There should be a collective responsibility provided by the federal government through progressive income tax for the millionaires and billionaires, pay their fair share. And I just want to know that I think, like, I really do look at in some levels it does work because we're like telling our employees what to eat or how many steps they should take. You know, that's something that it's really not our business in the end. But I just want to know the way out of this is for us to have a federal government that's going to provide health insurance for every single American, regardless of where they work, not tied to where they work, and paying for what they learn as a years.
Any further discussion on the committee report? recommendations of the Finance Personnel Committee. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Pratt.
Aye.
Chambers. Broward. Robbins. Westmoreland. Cox. Jackson. Zimmerman.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Regardless. Spiker. Dimitrievich. Stanford. Mr. President.
Aye.
59.
59, the committee report is adopted. Alderman DeAndre Jackson will now present the report of the Judiciary and Legislation Committee.
The Judiciary and Legislation Committee recommends adoption for 3, substitute resolution relating to the arrest and detention of Elvira Benitez. 44, resolution authorizing settlement of claims in the lawsuit entitled Mickey Robinson and others versus the city of Milwaukee and others. 45, resolution authorizing payment of the claim of John M. Lowe Jr. 46, resolution authorizing payment of the claim of the estate of Haley Linville. 47, substitute resolution relating to locations for in-person absentee voting in the city of Milwaukee for the 2026 August partisan primary and November general elections. 48, substitute resolution authorizing the city attorney to hire outside counsel for election-related needs. The Judiciary and Legislation Committee recommends confirmation of the following. 49, appointment of Madeline Armando to the Equal Rights Commission by the Mayor. The Judiciary and Legislation Committee recommends placing on file 50, an ordinance relating to the acquisition of certain properties and tax foreclosure. 51, a resolution relating to tax foreclosure, acquisition, and disposition of certain properties. 52, communication from the Election Commission relating to the plan of freezing operating funds made available by the cancellation of the February 2026 primary election. And the Judiciary and Legislation Committee recommends disallowance and indefinite postponement of items 53 through 58, claims against the city.
With the record reflecting that I will be a no vote on item 44, 260088, and I'll be abstaining from item 46, 2600. Is there any further discussion of the committee report? Mr. President. Chair recognizes all clear members.
Thank you. Please have my name in 43 and report me as no on 44.
The record reflects Alderman Regardless is co-sponsorship 43 and a no on 44. Chair recognizes Alderman Brown.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I wanted to speak to item 43, which is a very important piece of legislation that we have before us today, along with the rest of this council's efforts to stop ICE. I will just say that we as a body have been extraordinary amongst county councils across the country in passing and speaking to and furthering legislation to do everything we can at the local level to get our community ready for ICE. I'm really proud of the work that this council has been doing in the city of Milwaukee, and I appreciate the mayor signing our legislation as well. The resolution before us today, that was before Judge Lake last week, is a resolution that calls out the arrest and detention of Elvira Benitez. I do actually have a motion, Mr. President, that I'd like to make because I have a substitute. Given the fact that there were some changes around, what is the best procedure? Should I make that motion now? Okay, thank you so much. I'd like to speak to it as well. I move to replace substitute 1 of Common Council file number 260006 with the attached proposed substitute and further move passage of the, it says ordinance here, but it's resolution as substitute.
Okay, the motion by Alderman Brower is a substitute amendment. Is there any objection to that substitute amendment? Hearing none, the floor is yours, Alderman Brower.
Yeah, thank you so much. You all have a copy on your desk of the substitute resolution. Some of the facts on the ground changed. As you guys know, Elvira Benitez has been here in the United States. A resident of Wayne, a fellow Wisconsin, has been here in the United States for over 30 years and is now twice abducted by ICE. It is incomprehensible. It is immoral what we are doing to our immigrant friends and neighbors in this country, and there is no law that requires Elvira Benitez to be detained while she is awaiting her path to permanent residency here in the United States. She's posted bond. She was held, detained, and says in the resolution for over 2 months and subject to armed legal shackles. And recently, a judge ruled that Elvira was allowed to post bond, and she has been released now from ICE custody. And I actually wanted to point out that she is in the audience here today. Elvira, would you please stand with your husband? Thank you so much for speaking. Thank you so much for speaking out, because so many of our murdered friends and neighbors are afraid to speak out. It breaks my heart, and I appreciate every single individual who does speak out and is willing to let us spotlight you and raise your story up, because it's a story that so many people in this country are experiencing. It breaks my heart what's going on here. It is the actions the Trump administration must be stood up to, and I was so proud that our Judiciary Legislation Committee passed this resolution unanimously. And we declared in this resolution that the cruel and unnecessary detention of mothers, laborers, caregivers, and longtime community members who pose no danger to society. We declared that in this resolution that action is to be a profound and absurd waste of taxpayer dollars. And I know that us passing the resolution here this morning isn't going to change the facts on the ground for the tens and tens of thousands of people who are in ICE custody illegally right now. But if we do not raise our voices, then our silence is a contribution, in a small way, our silence would be a contribution to part of the problem. So today, we're taking action. Today we're taking action. And even though it's a small amount of action, it is action worth taking. This action we're speaking to. I really appreciate council leadership here and the leaders of the Judiciary Legislation Committee for having us consider these resolutions, for continuing to support these things. Thank you to the co-sponsors. And I just wanted to just say thank you to everybody. Thank you especially to the members of the public who took time out of their busy days this morning to come and observe the passing of this resolution. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Chair recognizes all the persons somebody about.
Thank you, Mr. President. No, I'm wearing this Wonder Woman t-shirt today, Mr. President, and I'm sure you're probably glad it was around 5 months, and that is true. But I also wore it because it reminded me of Elvira Benitez, our very own Wonder Woman. Today, Elvira is home in the great state of Wisconsin with her husband and her children and her friends and her neighbors. The Trump administration's decision to detain her at a federal prison in Kentucky is outrageous and unacceptable. A judge had already previously ruled that Elvira should be granted a green card when the Trump administration intervened because their goal is to further Trump's xenophobic anti-immigrant agenda. I want to, in particular, make sure that my fellow Latinos take note of what Trump and his administration did here. Elvira is a wife and a mother to 4 U.S. citizen children. She is a business owner, an entrepreneur like so many in our community are. She's an active member of her church in Medfund. Trump made the campaign promise that he would only deport the criminals. This is proof positive that he sees this amazing woman, this pillar of her community, Elvira Benitez, as a criminal. If you are an immigrant, Donald Trump and his administration want you gone. We must remember this and never ever forget. Now, I want to thank Alderman Browder for authoring this resolution today, and I want to join in expressing my gratitude to the Jet Lake Chairperson, Alderman DeAndre Jackson. He didn't have to schedule this. Elvira is a Wisconsinite, but she's from Sheboygan. So I really, really want to join Alderman Browder in saying thank you so much to the Jet Lake Committee, to the chairperson for being willing to schedule this, and to the members for being willing to hear this. And I asked my colleagues to join me today in voting for this. And to Elvira, yesterday after your ICE appointment, I walked out with you, and you said thank you to me. But all the gratitude goes to you and your family, because you fought and you advocated for yourself and for your freedom. Your fight will make it easier for the next immigrant family who is fighting for their own lives right now. And your fight will help us to bring so many more immigrant Wisconsinites back home where they belong. Gracias.
Goodbye, Elvira died. You know, we don't hear that story all the time, but the courage it took, first of all, for Elvira, coming out of detention. She mentioned to Wisconsin Public Radio that when she was in the Kentucky facility, the food she served was served, the medical care she didn't receive, and furthermore, that she was serving along other inmates that were serving for non-immigration related offenses, and they were mostly mothers separated from their children. That is totally unacceptable. And Elvira's courage, could you imagine walking into that place yesterday? And my two great colleagues being able to stand by her side is more than symbolic. It's an example of how the city of Milwaukee will continue to stand up every time. Someone said to me, are we going to do this, all the time? Aren't we getting tired? Yes, we're going to do it anytime that our constituents, our neighbors, and our friends are separated from their families. I hope we never have to do it again. And no, we're not tired, we're actually fired up. And so I just think that it was exceptional that we were there to stand in solidarity, that we as a body are standing in solidarity. These things matter to the other families, the other mothers, anybody living in fear. That is not the way for the city of Milwaukee to thrive. And we are doing just the opposite to make sure that our people are safe at all times. So I want to add my name, I want to add my support, and I really want to speak it into the record, the conditions that are being faced by our own neighbors. Neighbors is the word. Sitting with other mothers separated from their children. We've also seen the children treated very predominantly in the Texas facility. This is not okay, and I just truly thank my colleagues for allowing us the time and space to continue to fight this fight. And like Alderman Brower mentioned, this council has led by real policy. It is not easy in this environment. We have also been threatened. We have our funding threatened. We have the biggest building in the White House threatening us. And we keep standing up and doing it together because there is solidarity in numbers, and we do have the support of the people. So thank you.
The record reflects, Alderman Demeter's co-sponsorship of item 43. Chair recognizes Alderman Westmoreland.
I was not present at the last general meeting, so please list me as an abstention for items 44, 45, 46.
The record reflects an abstention by Alderman Westmoreland, 44, 45, and 46. Chair recognizes Alderman Taylor.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I just wanted to just say I appreciate my colleague Alex Brower for standing up and speaking out against us. I wanted to appreciate my other colleagues for what they have just said regarding the separation of families and tearing families apart. It's such a tragedy when families torn apart and trauma that is put on children unnecessarily. And so because of that, because it is that tragedy does exist and trauma is created, I would like to join you guys on signing up for co-sponsoring item number 43.
With the record reflects Alderman Taylor's co-sponsorship of item 43. Chair recognizes Alderman Moore.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I think all of my colleagues have said it well. If we don't stand up for our families, it's going to be. So please add me as a co-sponsor item number 43.
Thank you. With the record reflects co-sponsorship of Alderman Moore, 43. Is there any further discussion of the committee report? Hearing none, Alderman Jackson moves. Well, City Clerk, I believe we have 3 noes on. Oh, 2 noes in that session. Okay, I'm sorry. Is there any further discussion of the committee report? Hearing none, Alderman Jackson moves for adoption of the recommendation of the Judicial Administration Committee. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Crown.
Aye.
Chambers. Brower.
Aye.
Allen. Westmoreland. Arnold.
Aye.
Collins. Jackson. Zuniga. Taylor.
Aye.
Ford. Regardless. Spiker.
Aye.
Demetrievich.
Aye.
Stanford. Mr. President.
Aye.
50 ayes.
59, the committee report is adopted. Alderman Scott Spiker will now be presenting the report of the Public Safety Monitoring.
Public safety and health committee recommends passage of 59.